act. It's not with being eloquent, but with the power of God. And the power of God does not fall. You have to prevail on your knees first. I'm going to be here around May. And I told him, I need a space to be praying. We need to pray.
Tienes que venir bajo el poder de Dios, hablarle a la gente santa de lo que Dios quiere para ellos, conforme al Espíritu, a la carne. Dios, como el sueño se fue, bendito sea Dios. Lo seguimos reprendiendo. Porque Él se tiene que ir, porque Él no tiene parte ni suerte con nosotros, mi amado hermano. Gloria al Señor. Y el pastor aquel, hermano, estaba en eso y el pastor me dijo, me dice, pero sí, cuando tú vengas, te voy a instalar en la casa de los hermanos, por si acaso quieres ir a dar una vuelta con ellos. Mire, hermano, pastor, ¿y quién le ha dicho a usted que yo he llegado aquí a dar vueltas? Yo no voy a Norte Carolina a dar vueltas. Usted me va a poner en un lugar donde yo pueda orar para poder traer un mensaje de Dios. Yo quiero ir a dar vueltas, que me lleven allá a ver porquería el diablo, hermano. Y después venirme a parar aquí con mis ojos llenos de pecado, avaricia, porque fui a ver lo que no tenía que ver. Deme una cueva donde yo pueda meterme en oración para poder
I need a little cave to pray so I can preach. The pastor was surprised.
Yo bendigo al Señor porque el pastor no
I bless the
me
Lord.
dijo nada de la iglesia, me dijo, varón, lo vamos a instalar aquí. Y eso es de Dios, porque Él quiere que Dios haga algo en la iglesia. Así debe de ser esto del evangelio. Los pastores lo agarran a uno, un descarado de allá de West Palm Beach, medio siervo de Dios, porque le salen con el prototipo ese amor.
Somebody from West Palm Beach told me, I need you to preach about the people who do not tithe, who do not offer. I told him, you got the wrong evangelist. I'm not going to preach about something that the church knows what to do. I'm going to preach about Christ so they can repent. Because who loves God, he knows what he has to do. Ten cuidado. Now I'm going to talk with you. When I converted to Christ, I was anxious to do it. The pastor would bring me to the altar, and then he would sit me for 2 months. And the pastors who knew what I was, they would invite me to preach, but my pastor wouldn't let me. My pastor would say, it's still not time. And 2 times I went without his permission, and he would still find out. And he would discipline me. And I was frustrated. But I was still worshiping and believing in God. I like to be in the presence of the Lord. Everyone has that joy. I remember a pastor. And he would tell my pastor, why do you have this man sitting down? He would say, when it's the time of God, he's going to bring the word to you. I began to ask God, take me to the countries. I want to preach to the Brazilians. I want to preach to the Italians. to all of Central America.
Decía los países.
I would say every country by name.
Tenga cuidado con lo que le pide a Dios.
Be careful what you ask.
Yo le dije a usted que yo entré con papeles a Estados Unidos. ¿Sabe quién me vino a buscar para ir a predicar a las naciones? Inmigración.
You want to know who came to me so I could preach? Immigration.
Me vinieron a arrestar.
They arrested me.
Me dijeron que como yo había vivido, ya cristiano, escuche bien, como yo había vivido una vida de delincuente, que me querían deportar para Honduras. Y yo no conozco Honduras, yo me vine cuando tenía 11 años.
They told me that they were going to send me back to Honduras because I had lived a life of delinquency.
Y empecé a llorar y a llorar.
And I started to cry and cry.
Que me llevaba arrestado me dice, calle hablando lengua, y me dice, tú le estabas pidiendo a Dios predicar en las naciones.
The officer who was taking me,
no te preocupes que estás en el proceso de Dios, me dice. El mismo oficial americano que me había arrestado.
the officer who had arrested me told me, you had asked the Lord to pray to the countries.
Mire, hermano, ¿cómo
You're in that process.
Cuando caigo a inmigración, desesperado están los viajes.
I'm desperate.
Y me dice el Señor en voz audible.
And the Lord tells me in an audible voice,
Párate en esa banca.
get up.
Y me paro en una banca. Mira para allá y levanto mi cabeza.
And he tells me to look.
Tú dijiste a mí que querías predicar a las naciones. Aquí están los brasileños.
And he says, you told me you wanted to preach the nations.
Vamos a ver si es cierto.
He says, here are all the nations. Let's see if it's true you want to preach.
Pero yo quería que me llevaran en avión.
But I wanted to go on plane.
Yo quería pararme en los púlpitos.
I wanted to stand on these altars.
Pero Dios quería que yo empezara.
But God wanted that I would start an immigration. I had the privilege of preaching to the Jamaicans, people from Nicaragua, Italians, Cubans. Almost all the nations from Europe, Central America, South America. That's where I started my ministry. God spoke to me and he said, this is where your ministry begins. When I arrived to this place, there were only 2 or 3 places who would congregate. They were Christians with fear. Do you know them? When Carlos arrived. And I started preaching to the world. And I would start preaching. Those people who didn't want to know anything about crazy. I was 98 days in immigration. After the 98 days, there was a church with 46 members. They would call me pastor. Every single day I would preach. The officers would tell me, ever since you got here, there's a difference. You want to preach? Christ is going to do it. But you have to look for him first. How many of you wish for a ministry? The ministry is not only being on the altar. People are confused about this. The ministry of this man is being behind that camera. And he does it with rejoicing. People just like that long title. But that title, my soul needs to go with God first. Pastor, thank you very much. I bless your ministry. Look for Jesus. Because the beauty is not going to give you entry to it. Did you hear me? I bless your ministry. Look for the secret. Is there someone today who wants to reconcile with God, who spoke directly to you because you know you're leading a double life? You're not looking